Hello, friends. Uh, it's been a trend these days that most of the ex-Afghan government officials are blaming each other for the collapse of Afghan government. Some of them are accusing the United States of America. Some of them are accusing the special envoy Khalilzad for the collapse of Afghan government. And in between them, they just accuse each other. They were they're just charging each other for the collapse of Afghan government. But today, as a person who has served in Afghan army and who had worked with some organization which were closely working with the Afghan government to support the Afghan army and national police. My judgment is that, or my analysis is that the ex-Afghan government official should not blame someone else for their mistakes and misbehavior. A few days ago, I heard in the news that a service member of the United States Army was charged for 35 months in the jail by the court for providing fake documents for Afghans to apply for SIV. But in Afghanistan, a local warlord shot down a helicopter, and the same guy was kept in the house of first vice president of the country. So he was keeping him in his house. President Ghani tried to arrest him and put him in jail, but the first vice president was trying to keep him in his house and protect him. So think about it. If this was a situation of our government, if this was a democratic government and it was a republic government, yeah, I understand that they would have different views and opinions, but the goal should be same, and the goal was the prosperity and development of Afghanistan. But they even undermine each other. They were trying to steal whatever is in the government budget from the pocket of the government. On the same day, two guys took the oath of presidency, and it was a breach of the Constitution. So one party was absolutely wrong and guilty, and he should be persecuted and put him in jail. But instead, we all witnessed that they both shared the power. And important than that, the Afghan army service member or national police member or NDS guys, when they were killed in action, their families would come to Kabul to get support to support their family and children. They would be sexually harassed in Kabul in the Department of Pension and Benefits for Afghan army and soldiers. They should have been put those employees or workers who work in that department in jail right away. So if in a country, if in a government, the families of the fallen heroes were sexually harassed, so do you think that government would not collapse in the future? Would that government sustain? No, never. So they should not blame others for their misconducts. I was working with a group of strategic advising, ministerial strategic advising group, and I visited Ministry of Interior quite a few times, and I remember they hired nice, pretty girls in the military units. They hired nice, pretty girls as a deputy minister of the Ministry of Interior. The Afghan government should have studied the psychology of Afghan people. They don't like women to be in charge, especially in the military units. They don't like that. I talked to the generals, and they said, "Oh, I don't like to work under this pretty girl." They literally told me that. So think about it. Yes, if you would like to empower women, you could hire them in another ministry, not in the military forces, because you knew that yes, there is a dire need for women in the armed forces. That's really fine. But I'm just saying, at a strategic level, I've seen generals, and they told me that we've served for 35 years. And now I'm working under this young 28, 27 years old girl. They said we won't work. We won't coordinate and cooperate with her. I don't justify that. However, the government should have thought about it. Okay, we're in war, we're in fight, and we should act rationally. Yes, I mean, women should be in the service. Should be service members. However, we should know the psychology of the people as well. So the pro and cons. If there's pro, okay. If the cons is more than pro, then you have to have a proper analysis. Corruption. I remember they were supposed to move logistics package from Kabul to Helmand province, and it took them 3 months. 3 months. The ministerial advisory group advisor would invite Afghan general to coordinate the meeting to move the convoy to the Helmand. And sometimes one general would attend the meeting, and when he would be notified, okay, general, whoever, I don't want to name them, would come to the meeting. Another one would say, oh, I don't want to come here to the meeting because that general is in the meeting. So they were not prioritizing the national interest and national security of the country. They were just dealing their own business. On the other hand, Taliban had a very strong chain of command. They followed one command, and they were persistent to fight, and they won. So my analysis is that yes, probably there are some internal reasons, there are some external reasons, international players, neighboring countries, but I would blame mostly the Afghan politician and those who were involved, in the Afghan ex-Afghan government at the strategic level. The chief executive of the Presidential Palace of Afghanistan, he proposed a menu for the Presidential Palace which included 35 different types of meat. 35 different types of meat. They would have served it in different ways. They would make 35 different type of food from the meat. So think about it. Well, half of the nation would sleep with hungry stomach at night, and you were disclosing such a fancy menu. What was the need for that? Everyone know. Every international ally and partner who was visiting Afghanistan knew that Afghanistan's economy is donor-based and they need our support. So why would you show off? Anyway, so no one should blame each other for the collapse of Afghanistan. It's mostly on the Afghan officials, and if they were not corrupt, if they were loyal, if they were supposed to do their job correctly and honestly, so I believe the international community won't leave them alone, and they won't leave them alone, and I think there would be a deal possible between the Afghan government and Taliban. In the negotiation table, every political party would send their son, every leader would send his son to the negotiation table in Doha, Qatar, to deal with Taliban, just to deal with Taliban. Instead of discussing the national interests of Afghanistan, they would discuss their party or their political interest, which would favor them in the future, or at least they would talk about any share in the future government. So this was the situation. They all these factors got together and led to the collapse of Afghan government. And absolutely, I don't say that the international community was not involved in it, but however, 90% of the charge goes to the ex-Afghan government officials. Thank you. I just wanted to share my thoughts and comments with you guys. Have a good one.